Good morning. This is Jennifer Kavanaugh with Between Worlds. This is where I will be sharing some of my dreams, some of my experiences, meditations, and guests as we travel this new experience of moving between worlds, moving between dimensions. So this morning I wanted to share with you a couple dreams that I had over the weekend. So it is January 24th, 2021. And last night I had a really interesting dream, just a short one, but fascinating nonetheless, because I was actually POTUS. I was the president of the United States of America. Usually, when I have dreams like that, I'm in the room observing people. I'm not actually in the actual position, but this time I was. So I was actually sitting at the desk in the Oval Office, and my staff was there. I had just gotten into office, so I knew I was relatively new to the position. It had maybe only been a couple hours or a couple of days, something along that lines. There was a lot of people kind of coming in and out. There was about 4 or 5 people in the room that I believe were my staff. And we were trying to get the office set up because something wasn't quite right. The office itself was too small, and we couldn't fit enough chairs in the room for the meetings that we knew we were going to have. I had the impression that we were going to be bringing in groups of students. So I knew we were going to be meeting some young people, and then they were coming in as a group. And I only had 2 chairs in the room, and so there wasn't enough space for everybody to have a spot to sit down. So my team was trying to move these 2 chairs around the room and try and bring in 2 more chairs. And I was like, no, it's not quite right. I think we're going to need like some couches or something. But the room was so tight. It was so small. And it didn't matter how they rearranged it. There was no way to fit any extra chairs in there. There was no way to get any more people in there. And the other thing that I remember noticing too was that they were discussing needing to keep people 6 feet apart. So clearly, the social distancing was a key point in this, and that was about it. There was some questionable people coming in and out. There was some interesting energies coming in and out, but that's about all that I recalled this morning. Um, I'm not exactly sure yet what it's pointing to, or what it particularly means, or if it means anything. It could just be me processing what's been happening in the world lately. But it does give me some questions, I guess, about the actual space. Because in my mind, when I woke up, I was like, that's odd, because the room is actually quite large. And from what I gather, I think there actually are couches or something in there already. So the fact that this space was different and this space was a lot smaller has piqued my interest. And I also wanted to mention some dreams that I had Friday evening, or I guess early Saturday morning. So that would have been January 23rd. And the first dream I had, I was actually, those little, I think they're called like Shopkins or My Little something. They're toys, kids' toys that are like squishy. Um, so there was actually one of these squishy things. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they're called, and I have little kids, but my kids don't watch these shows, so I don't know. But I know they're squishy, like a gel, like a stress ball type feel to them, but they're shaped into animals and unicorns and vegetables and all kinds of weird things. So anyway, I was one of these beings, and there was 2 groups of us. So we were all made of this squishy material, but one group was shaped like the animals and the unicorns and the dragons. And then there was another group that was shaped like food, vegetables primarily. So I was on the vegetable side. And the the animal side, it sounds so crazy. The animal side, we all had superpowers. And so we were all superheroes. And we were doing something in the world. And we discovered that those who were shaped like animals were actually devil agents. And they were going to try and pull off some sort of like false flag event. And so I was directed as the leader of the vegetable team, to try and prevent them from pulling off this big event. And so we were in an area where there was a stage and there was a bunch of people, human beings, not squishy beings, human beings, seated in chairs, getting ready for some event to happen. And I was trying to direct this other team into like a shipping container. And so they went into the shipping container, but I couldn't actually close the door because they were so strong. So, and I remember my feet weren't on the ground. It was like we were all floating, levitating. And so I was pushing on the door and they were pushing back. And they were so strong, these little squishy beings, that they're actually denting through the actual shipping container. And we were fighting back and forth and fighting back and forth. And eventually I just couldn't hold them. And they all came flying out of the shipping container and they were flying over the people, over the crowd. And I remember thinking, oh no, now they're going to do it. But what I didn't realize is at first I thought this was going to be a real event, that people were actually in danger. But when they flew over my head, one of them grabbed my hand and was pulling me into the air. And telepathically, they had told me that no, it was just a show. It was still bad. It was like they were double agents or triple agents or something. Um, and so they were still doing something that wasn't ideal for the people there, but that nobody would actually be physically harmed, that it was more of a show. And then I don't remember anything after that. I got pulled out into wherever we were flying, and that was it. And then all of a sudden I was with my family in a hotel. So my immediate family and then my parents as well. And we were staying in this hotel. I knew we were in California and we were getting bored. So we're like, oh, let's go for a drive. So we all piled into this van slash pickup truck and we're driving down the street. And I immediately knew what street we were on in California. I know we were headed west and we were driving and I said, oh, I know where we are. If we go a couple more blocks and we turn left up ahead, then we can go to the beach. And, you know, we should probably go to the beach this morning because something's going to happen this afternoon. So it's probably better for us to go this morning. So everyone agreed that was a good idea. And as soon as we agreed to that, up ahead, we noticed these like orange lights and we realized there was construction and they had actually closed the roads. You couldn't get any further. And when we got up to that point, we were forced out of our vehicle. So we all had to get out of our vehicle. And there was these orange hula hoops on the sidewalk. And we were told that we each had to stand in our own hula hoop. We couldn't interact with one another. I sensed that they were trying to do some kind of social distancing measure. And I kind of figured that out after a minute or two of like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So we were standing all around and my parents started putting masks on and stuff. And I remember thinking, oh no, I don't have a mask. So what am I going to do? And then I was like, oh, they're probably going to give me a mask. And I was like, no, I can't wear one. I can't wear one. And I was starting to get afraid that I was going to be arrested. And so I just kind of put my head down. I spoke with the kids that were with me and just let them know it was going to be okay. I was trying to remain calm. And then in the midst of all this, they ended up confiscating our vehicle and using it. So they took it away. So we're left stranded here on the side of the road. And there's this big equipment beside us, the construction equipment. I couldn't quite make it out. I just remember this big gray box on the left side of the road, and on the right side there were some vehicles that were passing through, but there was some signs and I couldn't really see past that. But anyhow, at that point I looked up to the sky and I was looking at the clouds and I thought, geez, the clouds look really weird. And the one directly above us had this kind of like cigar shape to it. And I turned to my daughter and I said, hey, do you see that cloud? Doesn't it look weird? And I said, I wonder if there's something behind that cloud. And as I said that, the cloud disappeared and this massive spaceship was overhead, like it was taking up several blocks of the sky. And it was this light gray color. And I remember these like square, rectangular parts to it that were on the bottom. And I was, on one hand, I was so excited to actually see it in the physical. And I said to my daughter, do you see it? Do you see it? And she says, yes. And so then I was trying to get everyone else in my family. I said, do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? Because I normally it's just me that sees it, and I'm crazy one. And everyone saw it. And I thought, this is fascinating. Everyone is actually seeing it now. And I knew that there was other people on the street. I could feel other people walking down the street, and I knew other people were seeing it as well, but nobody was scared. Nobody was freaking out. There wasn't any panic. It was almost like everyone was in a state of um, awe or calm. It was unusual. It was an unusual state of calm, given how large the ship was and how it looked, and so forth. It was very metallic, right? So it didn't have that organic feeling of being a warm type of material. And we were all watching it. And then all of a sudden, the ship changed shape again. And now I was seeing objects flying through the sky, kind of like in the movies when you see a tornado or something move through a space and you just see bits and parts of things flying through the sky. But what I was seeing fly through was pieces of old statues and pillars that look like the pillars of the Colosseum. And all of these Roman artifacts were flying through the air. But what was clear was that they were all broken up. They had somehow fallen apart, and they were flying overhead. And again, this didn't bring any fear. It actually was just more interesting than anything else. And that particular image has yet to leave me. I mean, it's been 2 days now, and I'm still thinking about the images of that, because to me there's some symbology there in terms of, the Roman Empire and the artifacts and the images that we would use to represent the Roman Empire falling apart. And what's interesting was that they were in the sky and that they were in California. So you would think if that's what you were witnessing, you would witness it in Rome. But no, we were witnessing it in the US. So, I woke up actually feeling very curious, but also very calm. So I'm not gonna offer any further interpretation on it. I have my own interpretation, but I don't know that that's necessarily why I'm meant to share this. So I'm sure you're getting your own images and messages, and hopefully it brings you a peace of mind or some calm as well. So that's it for today. I just wanted to share those two dreams, and stay tuned. I'll continue to share any interesting images that come up, and interesting meetings or ideas that are flowing through as we navigate this transition between dimensions. And as more of us are starting to open up to have these experiences, there's a lot more people who are seeing things, hearing things, having strange experiences that we didn't have before. And it's a very normal thing. But when it happens, sometimes we can be confused. Sometimes we really grapple with what's the meaning of it. Why are we seeing it? How do we interpret it? And, this is something that I've experienced most of my life, but it's definitely, some of the images they're not always rainbows and kittens, as we say. So I just want to share my experiences in the hope that maybe it's helpful for someone else or for you to interpret and understand your own. Have a beautiful day.